All day. And Chris, this is all over the presidential election?
Yeah, exactly. They're furious that Donald Trump won the election. Now, emotions here right now have died down as we've seen the groups dwindle and go home for the day. But earlier, the passion was so intense. Many of the students telling us that they fear for what will come in Donald Trump's presidency, that they fear for what will come, that they fear for what will come in Donald Trump's presidency.
Students of color on campus. Do you recall any tensions like that happening? Or
there were definitely tensions. I can't confirm or deny some of the other allegations. At that point, I don't.
The video is just 9 seconds long. Its consequences could last a lifetime. Tonight, 2 frat brothers from Sigma Alpha Epsilon have been expelled from the University of Oklahoma after leading a chant that they'd rather black people be lynched than join their fraternity. The video went viral Sunday night, igniting a firestorm of outrage at OU and far beyond.
Poster on the campus of Hope College has students talking tonight.
Many expressing their anger and frustration, but some considering it an opportunity for a frank and open discussion.
Steve Kelso spent the day on campus and filed this report.
When you hear about something like that, you're like, really? Because it's just not supposed to happen anymore.
That was Elliot Barney's reaction to this poster, inviting students to join a fictional frat, Kappa Kappa Kappa. With all 3 of the letter K's in bold type, it pretty easily reads KKK. The poster said students would have the opportunity to attend a 20-foot bonfire, share Confederate literature, and attend a sheet party dressed as a ghost, an obvious reference to the Ku Klux Klan's iconic garb.
Regardless of what he meant it to be, what it was racist.
I was initially quite shocked. I saw the poster and couldn't believe that someone could put all those things in one piece.
Katie Sawyer is the president of the Hope Student Union. Since October, her organization has been tackling the issue of racism. This Wednesday, the project will culminate with a day of discussion and events.
This is take 1. Jean-Luc talking about racism in America. My name is Jean-Luc. I am a graduate of 2017 at Hope College. I studied communication and marketing and basically PR at Hope, and I had a minor in peace and justice studies that I completed, and also a organizational leadership minor. During my time at Hope, I participated a lot in organizations like LSO, the Latino Student Organization. So I was ready and excited to get out of home. I just wanted to leave the country, experience something on my own. I'm the 3rd of 4 brothers, so my 2 older brothers were already in college. They already had experiences of their own. I heard all about it every summer, and every Christmas break they would come back. You'd hear all these great stories about campus life and freedom and just being able to feel safe in a good community, in a good environment where you could thrive, right? Where you could do what you want and do what you wish under the parameters of school and education and furthering yourself. So I was prepared to come into that with a college and try to experience that. I actually had a couple different options of college that I could attend in. Hope ended up being the top priority there for me, based solely on financial support and financial aid. What I was really nervous about for sure was coming into a campus that maybe wasn't as diverse as I would have wanted it to be.
So before coming to college, I wasn't aware of what the political climate was like in the U.S. and like how real that division was. I was not even thinking about it. Like I would, watch Trump on TV, but I didn't think that people were taking him seriously enough, for him to get elected as president in November. So the whole time I wasn't aware of the issues that the U.S. was facing in terms of race.
I knew coming into Hope that there was about a 12% diversity community. I was reached out and singled out to be part of the Phelps Scholar program at that time, so it kind of felt like they were trying to put you into a group right away when you were coming into campus. I got a little nervous when I started to get those fields. Upon arrival into campus as well, I looked around and there was not a lot of people that looked or felt like me. It was a very Dutch community, even when we went to Meijer or Walmart for the first time. Nothing felt like a clique, right?
Yeah, it was hard not to feel like you were not welcome when you were a minority, because most, Hope College is a predominantly white institution. So you do feel like you stand out, and you are a minority, so you have different experience than most of the students at Hope. And I don't think the institution usually does. I think the institution could do a better job at taking into account the different experiences and different backgrounds that students have.
So 2016 was an interesting year, needless to say. The change that we were about to have was, we were seeing it as students in our Facebook. We were seeing students feel attacked from the narrative coming from both partners, right? It was different. I had people who were Democrat and I had people who were Republican in my Facebook feed. I have both of them. I am really good friends with a lot of people on campus, and they both believe very differently. And this is the time where we called it the true colors come out, right? When we really understood that this person didn't humanize the other person. They attacked each other but didn't know about each other. And it was terrible. It was horrible raising your hand and everybody was like, no, what's going on with the student body? Please tell us. And you're like, are y'all in a cloud right now? What's going on? Do you not understand? We're about to have students who are fearful of coming into this campus back because they're afraid that they're still the minority. I mean, we're talking about the less than 18% was in that campus at that time. We're talking about 18% who are kept in one hall and who are kept into 3 student organizations. You tell me if you're not going to be fearful.
What I remember from that year, I know a lot of people in Scott were mad, because even some of the people within the program were Trump supporters. So you knew, there were a few, and you knew who was gonna vote for Trump in that year. So there was a lot of division.
It shifted right there and then, where we as students, the 2 of us, had to become essentially the voice portrayers to these adults who we assumed knew more, who we assumed knew better, who we assumed would have our back or would have options for us as students to come back to our community, to come back to the students that we serve and say, yeah, no, tell them to do this, or how about we provide you with some resources, or how about we help them transition that thought into more of an action, right? Whether, I don't want to call it a riot, but whether we put a peaceful presentation, or if we make a voting movement. All these different things that we were expecting the professors, the people who were in position of powers, to help us with, was not there. I still remember being in one class as well, and coming out of that class after voicing my opinion, as I traditionally tend to do. So after this class, I walked out of the class, and right all of a sudden, one of the guys that was in the class who had disagreed with me the entire time was just like, well, I hope they send you home.
So the night of the election, I remember there was a group of students in the basement of Scott Hall watching the elections. I wasn't there, but I remember hearing about it, and like I said, people knew that some people in Scott were Trump supporters, so there was this huge tension and division, and I was like, yeah, I'm not getting involved in that. But yeah, I just know there were a lot of people crying when they found out that Trump had won, and yeah, like I said, some people were crying and sad, some people were angry. And there were also rumors that some Trump supporters were planning on coming to Scott for some reason. Apparently, campus safety was outside of Scott, trying to prevent any chaos from happening. And
so there was a plan, and there were rumors.
There were rumors that people wanted to come into Scott, and I don't know what they wanted to do, but I guess just target minorities on campus, because that, like I said, Scott Hall is, in Scott Hall, that's where most students of color lived.
We started having issues with the Confederate flag coming all over campus and students feeling offended for it. I mean, we had a Confederate flag being flown all over Durfee because someone decided that it was a good idea to do so, not understanding the historical concept of a Confederacy flag and how that affected students on campus already there. right? Is that first incident that happened in Durfee kind of narrated the extent of the rest. And in preparation for it, you can understand we released a couple of dates in which the day of the election, the day after the election, and a few more days after that, in which we told students, hey, there's going to be an open space for you to come in. A lot of these students took days off in which they emailed their professors. Students are going to be in an awkward spot where they won't know what to do. We're talking about 18 to 21-year-olds here sitting down trying to understand what to do with this political conversation and with the people that don't look like them or do look like them and how they navigate that. So I can tell you I had a few friends who didn't go to school for an entire week. I had a couple who drove home as well, who were from Chicago, so it wasn't that far away, but they drove home to visit their families and be with their families. A lot of them in fear that, deportation wave is coming and their parents are going to be picked up, and this was a discourse that was being claimed out. So a lot of them were very fearful, and I think that you could probably expect about the same this time around, regardless of whether this shift is left or right. I think there's going to be a lot of discourse on folks and which direction they take. So I think everything was too late. I would say that this is something that should have been created a while back, yes. They should have foreseen this problem. They should have, when the students voiced up their perspective, when we were in this meeting back in June of that month, when we already started seeing this, that should have clicked. That should have made a switch. How is this going to affect my campus?
Hypothetically speaking, if Trump were to continue to be in office for 4 more years.
I am scared just thinking about it.
But let's talk about it. Just elaborate more on that.
Yeah, no, I honestly feel bad for them, and I am concerned about what's gonna happen after the elections. Because, like I said, I went through that, and it's not easy, and I really wish there was a way to protect all the students at Hope during this period. But I think, like, my advice for them would be to rely on their support networks and like finding spaces where they are valued and listened and cared for. Like for me, it was the Phelps Scholars Program, the International Center, CDI, and yeah, just like having those conversations with my friends really helped me process everything that was going on. So,
but do you think things would get better or worse if we had 4 more years of Trump?
Just be prepared for a few days of meditation, a few days of retrieving yourself from the conversation and being able to understand that it's going to be high tensions. So a small thing can spark up.
I don't know. I am hopeful that people will make a better decision this election.